Thank you very much.
It's Kaufman is Alive. I look at comic books new and old. Today I'm looking at a new comic book, Absolute Superman number 4 by DC Comics. It's a $4.99 comic book. Got Jason Aaron is the writer. Rafa Sandoval is doing the artwork. And he's doing the cover as well too. Cool cover, extreme cover. This could be called like Extreme Superman even. Kind of taking it back to the 90s where everything had a harder edge. I almost feel like this absolute universe is something it's trying to kind of do. You know, I feel like the no slight against the creative team here because I think they're doing as fine a job as they can with the assignment that they've been given here, trying to reboot Superman, but I don't know if it's really needed. And when we get to the parts in this book where we actually meet Superman, as we've got all these characters just talking about him throughout this whole book here, um, he definitely doesn't feel like Superman. He feels like somebody else. So the story, I like everything that's going on so far, but it almost feels like you could supplant it into any other, some new characters even might be good, instead of trying to give this story to Superman and switching around some of his other side characters like Lois Lane here. She works for the Lazarus Corporation, and Lazarus is like this shady government corporation that controls everything, a lot like the Midas Corporation in the Ultimate Universe over in Marvel. If I can draw some obvious parallels between the Ultimate Universe at Marvel and the Absolute Universe in DC. And I feel like the Absolute Universe is trying to kind of ape that whole thing Marvel's doing with the success they've kind of had with the Ultimate Universe. But I really like Jason Aaron's writing, his world building on Krypton in the first 3 issues of this story here. But I feel like there's a lack of world building going on in the actual Earth where we find all of our main characters here existing in. We know the Lazarus Corporation, like I said, is this shady government corporation. They've got a slogan called Lazarus brings life, but obviously we know they just bring death and, imprisonment and destruction. So it's John Romita Jr. face. That's what that looks like there. We've got this like peacemaker guy who's working for the Lazarus Corporation. All the peacemakers work for Lazarus, and he's trying to explain that he's got PTSD from some work that he's done, and the AI brainiac that controls everything basically ignores him and tells him to go back to work. And we saw a similar scene happen with Lois Lane in the previous issue, and she's basically, even though she's a soldier here, an agent, she's kind of doing similar reporting work here. She's just trying to report things that she finds about this new Superman, and she's being hunted by the Omega Men here. We actually find out this is Jimmy Olsen. You might have been tipped off by the red hair, but he's working with the Omega Men. They're just trying to bring freedom to people. They're freedom fighters, basically. They're basically like Antifa, essentially. But Jimmy Olsen thinks that Lois Lane is on the wrong team, and she knows she's on the wrong team, so he's trying to convince her to join them. We see this character show up, Omega Prime. She calls herself Primus, like the band. And she has a brief fight here with Lois Lane. The Peacemakers show up along with the traumatized guy, Smith. And that's when we see Superman show up here. Now, I do like his cape design here, how it's almost like a living thing. It's like this giant cloud that just envelops him and everything around him, and it can do anything, that he wants it to, essentially, with his mind. He controls it. The only thing I don't like about the cape is that it has this like AI presence that can talk back to Superman. So, but here you see the this like troubled, angst ridden Superman here. I feel like this story could have worked with like Superboy or maybe Jonathan Kent, but I just feel like rebooting Superman is just kind of weird at this point. It feels unneeded. And, the Absolute Batman series I think is pretty cool. And the Absolute Wonder Woman series is cool too. I feel like maybe doing it to Superman as well was a bit unneeded, but um, they wanted to do the Trinity, I guess, of DC Comics and start that off, and I understand that. So we get Jimmy Olsen using his photography skills here, which is a callback. There's things about this where I feel like if we didn't already know who these characters were, a lot of it wouldn't seem as cool as it is. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Lois Lane, she's a secret agent in this one, and Jimmy Olsen works with the Omega Men, but here he's using photography with his phone. Um, and I guess that's kind of all the extent of the world building we kind of get here in this. And I guess people still use phones, even though this is like a dark side controlled universe or Brainiac controls it. See, that's the thing. I don't even really understand the ins and outs of everything that goes on Earth at this point. We still haven't really learned a whole lot. So I'm waiting to get filled in. I feel like if Jonathan Hickman was writing this, we'd have like data sheets every other page and maps of Gotham and Metropolis telling us everything that's going on. So we don't get a lot of that here. You just have to learn all of the world building through the actual, you know, speech from the characters and text in the book. So Absolute Superman number 4. I feel like this series is moving very slowly. I feel like we need to get past this whole opening. We're still kind of meeting Superman here, like 4 issues in. I feel like we need to get past all that. I really like the Krypton stuff in the previous issues, so um, I don't know. I'll give this issue kind of a mild recommendation. Like I said, I feel like the creative team they're doing a great job with everything that they've been given to do. So. Um, Go check out this issue. Let me know if you've read it yet, what you think about Absolute Superman or the Absolute Universe. And go check out my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Go read comics.